Hello, everybody. Tay Fancic here. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video, and geez, I hope my beginning didn't cut off. Said I was recording, maybe I wasn't, and this lighting is terrible. I hate the snow. Oh well, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Anyway, so as you can tell by the title, this is going to be my first video where I'm going to be talking about hauntings and everything like that. And sorry, I'm still trying to find some good editing equipment. So, as you can tell from my previous videos, I have kind of an obsession with haunted locations. I'm planning on visiting the Villisca House in Iowa. I'm hoping to visit the Lizzie Borden House. Waverly Hill Sanatorium's kind of hit and miss. I want to see it, but they do not allow any video recording. So, oh well. Anyway, so we're going to go on to our topic for today, which I started researching. And the reason that this is part one is because I've actually delved into it a little bit more and I'm becoming a lot more intrigued with it the more I learn. So the reason I became obsessed with this particular location is because my own father recommended it to me because of an experience that he had at this location. So his story goes back 11 years ago. Um, well, he says 11 years ago, but I'm pretty sure it was longer than that because he says 1997. So I don't know. Bad at math off the top of my head. But anyway, I'll go into my facts later about because I actually called the hotel and spoke to the manager, and she confirmed a few facts with me. And there's a few things that I still want to research, and some things that I've already looked up that I want to discuss. Right now, I just want to tell you his story, which got me obsessed with it. So his story is that this was when the oil industry was really booming. He was a part of that, and he actually had to go to New Mexico right after working a shift. He was in Pinedale, Casper, Pinedale, Casper, but had to work an entire shift, then drive all the way from Pinedale down to New Mexico. It was the only hotel room that was left because of the oil industry that was going on. It's really big down there. It is Wyoming too, but I digress. Anyway, so he's completely like out of it, like almost feeling drunk with the lack of sleep that he has not gotten. And he had this experience where like the instant he walked into his room, like he said that there was a window in the back, which as you can see from the picture that I provided in the thumbnail, and I'm actually going to be posting a link later on so you can kind of take a look at their website. It is still in business, but see how it looks. And it's got this weird Victorian feel in it, but there's windows along the back of each room. He said that when he opened his door, there were lights and everything that were coming through, not only from the street lamps, but from a Chinese restaurant that was actually behind where the hotel was. He said there was no light whatsoever, despite all these lights being on outside. And immediately went downstairs. He's just like, can I get a different room? Just like there's something wrong with mine. I haven't gone into it, but like doesn't want to say ghost. My dad is a skeptic. And she doesn't say it either, but described it as like the woman that he was talking to was really like she kind of knew something but wasn't going to say it. But unfortunately, it was the only room. He stayed there for roughly a week, could not sleep, tried to take down a ton of Tylenol PMs in order to help himself sleep, still couldn't. Tried to find another place to sleep, like the garage at work or a coworker's house or something, just couldn't find anything. His coworkers didn't believe him. They went to the room, they said it was creepy as hell, and stuff started flying around. So I became very interested in the story. And I spoke with the manager today, actually, earlier today. I introduced myself over the phone. I said, I'm not a reporter. I'm just a freelance writer. I'm just trying to write about a few locations. And I listed off a few places, which you would think that was a lie. I did blemish the truth a little bit because I haven't been able to visit as many haunted locations as I would like to. But I am a freelance writer. So that much was true. And I am writing about it. I need coffee to keep me going. Anyway, so the manager, I won't say her name for two reasons. One, I don't want to invade her privacy or release any information that she doesn't want me to release. And two, she didn't give me her name. I think because she was nervous that I actually was working with the newspaper or something like that. Anyway, so I'm discussing things with this woman. I said, hey, so I heard some stories about your location. I heard some stories that occurred in one of your rooms, which is about a third of the way down the hallway. And on the right side of the building on the second floor. And she kind of knew what room I was talking about. She already sounded exhausted over the phone, was the point. which I thought was unusual because when I looked at the reviews for the place, the most that they said was it had a feeling of like grandma's house. It had a weird Victorian feel to it, but no postings really about other things. But she did confirm that a lot of people claimed that stuff flew around. Stuff would be flung from one side of the room to the other. She said that, yeah, people have said weird stuff happens. Now, this woman, she was the manager, but she was a bit of a younger woman. Not the woman that my dad spoke to when he was there, obviously, because when he was there over a decade ago, it was a woman like roughly in her 50s or 60s, is how he estimated it. This woman was perhaps in her 30s, like early to mid 30s, the way she sounded. And she did say that there were a lot of rumors about the location. There were a lot of things about, she said, a violent crime that took place in the 1930s. And then she wouldn't say what the crime was. So that got me curious. She also said that there was a rumor going around that where the hotel used to be was actually where the gallows were to hang criminals and such. She said, that's just a rumor, though. It's just something that goes around the rumor mill. She's very quick to dismiss every story that came up. So I kind of wondered how long she had been there. She'd been a local. She didn't sound local, but I don't know. So I kind of went into this whole thing with research. I was curious because she wouldn't say what the crime was in the 30s. That really caught my attention. But the way the hotel is formatted, you'll see this when you look in the pictures. The way the front counter is done and like even the decor and such like that, you kind of get the feel of it formerly might have been like a nursing home or a lunatic asylum. Like the front counter looks like one of those closed off areas where the patients would get like their medication and such like that. So I asked her like, did the hotel used to be anything before it was a hotel? She said no, the hotel was built in 1996 and it was strictly meant to be a hotel. Like the way it's designed was by its founder. This is how it's supposed to look. And I thought that was curious. I'm like 1996, and if my dad was there in 1997, that means that these have been going on since the hotel was founded. So interesting. Also, another thing my dad pointed out when he was telling his story was, in order to like try and get some ease away from this president's presence, sorry, he, you know how each hotel room like has a Bible or something in it. So my dad is very religious, so he was opening up the door to try and read the Bible to put himself at ease. There was no Bible, but there was a journal, oddly enough, which the more he spoke about this, the more I think it's a really good idea for hotels to do. So in the journal, there were entries from each person who stayed in the room over the last few months or years or however long the journal goes. And actually, when I looked at the website, it looks like they still do that. It's still a policy that they have, which I think is an adorable idea. So my dad at the time, and he still remembers this to this day, he was reading through the journal, and this was a single bed type room. But everyone, almost everyone in the journal, said about like how they loved the place. It was super clean. The people were super nice. However, he did note that the people who were single men staying in that room were all saying the same thing that he experienced. Something was in the room, something was super creepy. They couldn't sleep, they couldn't relax, they couldn't do anything. They didn't even want to be in this room. They never wanted to come back again. And my dad wrote his own entry. Yeah, same thing happened to me. I never want to come back here again. This is super awful. Even my dad to this day, like over a decade later, says, you cannot imagine the terror of walking into that place and just not feeling welcome because something is, there. It just, it flabbergasted me, this story. So I decided to look and use some of the information this manager does. Excuse me while I click around to tab. Find too much. Oh, come on, give me the thing. Load the page. It listed all the modern US crimes up to that date. And so I looked and let me see if I can get the exact information here. So July 3rd, 1929, there was a headless body that was found. And but this was in Taos, New Mexico, roughly 4 hours away from Aztec. So this may or may be the crime that they think kind of seemed far away. So I'm kind of wondering, you know, because I'm looking at it and they couldn't figure out like who it was. They didn't figure out it was the body of a transit. They didn't figure out if it was somebody from the community. They didn't figure. Ultimately, decided like it's just not worth our time. We don't want to waste resources trying to figure out who this person is. We're just going to bury him and call it good. Um, your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Oh fuck! I wonder how much of that I fucked up. But anyway, so 1929, there was a crime, a very violent crime that went unsolved and happened roughly about 4 hours away. That could have been the crime that people were talking about. I can't really find anything else from the 1930s. Now, if you guys find anything, please be sure to comment it below and attach like an article or something like that. So, because as you can probably tell from the title, this is part one. I am going to be looking more into it to see what else I can find out. But when I was looking through some other stuff, there was a crime that happened back in 1990, which was a few years before this hotel was founded. And this actually took place in a bowling alley. Now, this crime happened roughly about 6 hours away, but the killers were not caught for this one either. Now, this was at a bowling alley. Seven people were gunned down, including a 13-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So wonderful, right? And anyway, the killers were never caught. And it's actually believed that there was more than one perpetrator and they might still be alive today. So, take that how you will. But I don't know. Those were like the only two real major crimes like around that time period that I thought like might kind of coincide with, what this woman was talking about. I still have to research the actual gallows claim if the gallows were there. It's hard to actually find stuff that goes kind of that far back. I'm hoping maybe if somebody has anything on like ancestry.com or anything like that, where they have like former papers with criminal records or anything like that that live in the Aztec, New Mexico area, please contact me and let me know if you find anything. So it's going to be something I continue to kind of look into because it's something that it just seems really shifty to me that nobody there wants to talk about it, but these things have been going on for, years since this hotel was founded. And yet they don't want to claim it. But the manager did say, just like, yeah, we've had people say things fly around. We've had a lot of people that even want to just stop in and not necessarily have a room, but like take a look around the place or whatever and just kind of take a tour of the place. Okay, so there's a history going on here, but for some reason, I'm not finding anything online. I never find anything about any haunted reviews or anything. So I'm wondering if everything's moderated, everything's just kind of kept in the community as much as possible, which is a very small community. But anyway, so that's just going to be something that I pursue and expect to see more videos about that and some other haunted locations. Now, if you have any recommendations for other hauntings you kind of want me to discuss, any crimes you want me to discuss, I did discuss the Entley Slivko tapes quite a ways back, which has gotten like 3,000 views. Thank you guys so much. But there's some other stuff that I obviously want to go into. I'm going to be going to South Carolina in Hilton Head. Is that the name of the community? But they hold ghost tours and everything there. So I'll also be taking a look at that. So expect those posts in March or the beginning of April, whenever I'm getting back. So anyway, stay fancy, you guys. I'm going to stay in the loop on this case as much as possible. If you have any articles or any suggestions or any information about this, please contact me with it because I'm super intrigued. If you live in the Aztec, New Mexico area, please contact me. This is something that I'm very excited about pursuing in between my freelance writing and such. Also, if you haven't caught on my other videos, I am working for the Wicked Binge YouTube channel now, so I will be writing scripts for some of their videos, The Good to Evil, which I believe the first script I submitted, they should be doing the video for that sometime this month or next month. I don't know, something with the editing going on. Anyway, stay fancy, you guys. I am out. See if I can end the stream here. Yes, I do.